The people wanted a little hand. They wanted an ornamental wooden box. They wanted the little hand to fit in the box from which they could display their Solaris Stellar Horizon IEMs. Well, even if the people didn't ask for it, that's what Campfire gives you. And what we have here is Campfire's third edition of the Solaris, released in 2023, with the first edition originally released 5 years ago now, in 2018. We see some significant upgrades beyond just the dramatic display that I'll be going over in this video. Now, before we get into the fit, design, and sound, let's see what else Campfire gives you with the new Solaris Stellar Horizon, which is priced at $2,670. You also get a dimension folding leather case with a magnetic closure and carabiner, a mesh IEM pouch, a ripstop cable pouch, also with a magnetic enclosure, 3 TimeStream MMCX cables, a 2.5, 3.5, and 4.4 millimeter, 3 pairs of silicone ear tips, 3 pairs of foam marshmallow ear tips, a Campfire audio lapel pin, and a cleaning tool. Starting with physical design. The IEM spout, and now the housing as well, is composed of stainless steel. It now features a zesty and mysterious flair that aesthetically sets it apart from its previous editions. The design you see on the faceplate is composed of machined steel with a gold PVD finish and a laser-cut acrylic field inlay. It's cosmic, the way a sundial is, and possesses the look of an ancient future. But more than anything else, it's distinctly Campfire. Quite simply, I think most would agree that the IEMs, and the cables that come with them for that matter, possess an exceedingly elegant quality. While the buds retain the same particularly ovular shape, they seem to now be a bit smaller. In terms of fit, I had no issues getting the Solaris into my ears, and found it sat pretty comfortably once in. The nozzle is deceptively long and presents a listener with the opportunity for a pretty deep fit if desired, and I did. However, I find that the angular ridge on the IEM pressed somewhat uncomfortably against the cartilage on the rear of my ear when wearing it deep. Admittedly, deeper than Campfire would likely advise. Also, I feel somewhat obliged to mention just how comfortable the included tips are. If you're a foam kind of person like I am, you're in for a treat with the marshmallow tips, which fit like pure ear fluff. Now, let's talk some technical design and specs. We see 5 drivers in the Solaris Stellar Horizon. One 10mm dynamic driver with radial venting technology, a single custom dual diaphragm balanced armature, and 2 custom dual diaphragm super tweeters, which, by the way, is basically just another type of specialized balanced armature driver. As for upgrades we see from the previous editions of the Solaris Stellar Horizon's balanced armature drivers now see more output, greater extension, and less distortion. The radial venting surrounding the dynamic driver creates greater air volume and expands the space in which the driver physically operates. According to Campfire, this leads to soundstage improvements and a more even performance from the dynamic driver. Now, finally, let's get into sound. Arguably, the best trait the Campfire Solaris Stellar Horizon has going for it is its soundstage. It's wide, it's tall, and more than anything else, incredibly deep. It's also a very active stage, as it sent parts flying from across the room, hitting my head, and brushing across my face. But let me be a little more specific, and a little less poetic, with what impressed me. Despite the exciting kinetic activity in the stage, parts seemed to occupy very specific points of space. It wasn't the guitar feels somewhere out there and to my left. It was more like the guitar is 4 feet in front of me and 2 feet to my left. This made listening to songs that were mixed to imitate actual live stage positions particularly satisfying. It also served to further enhance the clarity and separation already occurring in a very clean balance. Speaking of which, let's get into that. Admittedly, the Solaris is perhaps not for you if you like big, bombastic low ends. Instead, we see a moderate low end amplitude that seems focused on mid-bass, but is also heavily informed by high bass. Now, let me clarify here. Signatures that draw a significant portion of their timbre from high bass often suffer from a pillowy, imprecise sound where the low end and mid-range lose their separation and distinction. That is decidedly not the case with the Solaris New Horizon. High bass, and low mids for that matter, are emphasized just enough, and the Solaris Stellar Horizon might be the first time I would use the adjective tight to describe a high bass and low mid timbre. They add a subtle but nonetheless noticeable degree of organic warmth, density, and weight to the low end as well as the mids. Beyond this subtle low-mid warmth, the mid-range presents very naturally and even somewhat flatly, which I mean as something between a neutral and positive observation. To my ears, this extra accurate mid-range is what defines the Solaris's balance more than any other trait. Vocals, guitars, drums, pianos all sound, for lack of better terminology, exactly as they should. I found the modest low end and particularly accurate mid-range to make the Solaris just a little better suited for some genres than others. While electronic and pop music still sounds great with it, more acoustically recorded genres like rock, jazz, or even classical seems to be where the Solaris Stellar Horizon really thrives. Finally, coming around to treble, the Solaris is a little cautious here, but not afraid. Low and mid treble seem to mostly conform to a standard ear gain treble boost, while upper treble rolls off its extension ever so slightly on the early side. And I want to emphasize, very slightly. No, I don't think that the Solaris has an airy or lightweight treble. Perhaps what it does have, however, is a very shiny treble. And to clarify what I mean by that, the harmonic character on pianos, strings, guitars, particularly electric guitars, still finds ample expression. So while the tips of vocal air and reverbs don't really glide and float through the balance, the Solaris Stellar Horizon is positively not a dark-sounding IEM. I found the semi-sharp roll-off in the high treble to further reinforce the firm and impactful weight of its mid-range, and perhaps a little less so, its low end. So here's my impression of the Solaris Stellar Horizon by the end of this review, in some bullet points. First off, it's genuinely gorgeous, at no expense to comfort. Secondly, imaging and soundstage are big and active, arguably at the top of the line, and go a long way in justifying the Stellar Horizon's kind of intimidating price tag. Balance is warm, semi-neutral, firm, and focused. Low end and treble play supporting characters, lightly adding their own subtle colorations, while the accurate mid-range packs the most presence. The Solaris seems to have an ongoing, somewhat polarizing reputation, and I think this may be because of the lean low end. But if you like balances that offer more than just a slamming bass response, you may likely find treasure in the Stellar Horizon. As someone who considers themselves a member of that category, I was very, very impressed with the unit. If you want to help support the channel, I'm including a link to purchase the Campfire Audio Solaris Stellar Horizon from Audio 46 down below in the description. If you want to see more videos and reviews like this, remember to like and subscribe down below. Anyway, this is Chris with Major Hi-Fi, and I'll see you next time.